The Opposition United Party for National Development, UPND, has given police in Lusaka a 48-hour ultimatum to release their member for carrying out a lone protest at the University of Zambia. Matomola Likwanya was arrested 10 days ago for showing solidarity to students that were denied to sit for their examinations by UNZA management for failure to pay tuition fees. Speaking at a briefing today, UPND Kawata Constituency Information and Publicity Secretary Simataa demanded that the police command in Lusaka should carry out their duties professionally. He says the command should release Lusaka District Information and Publicity Secretary Matomola Likwanya within 48 hours. Mr. Mainda has warned that failure to release UPND Lusaka District IPS by 14 hours on Monday will force UPND Lusaka Province aspiring councillors and youths protesting in solidarity at Charleston Police Station, where their member is currently detained.
Appealing to the police command to carry out their duties professionally, and we are calling for them again to release Comrade Matomola Likwanya unconditionally. We are giving them an ultimatum up to 14 hours on Monday. If they do not release him by 14 hours Monday, all of the councillors in Lusaka aspiring, including youths, are going to go and camp at Charleston Police Station. And we are not going to leave that police station until they either release him or take him to court. But between now and Monday, we are still calling on the police officer in charge at Charleston to ensure to say that Matomola Likwanya receives the needed medical attention. If anything happens to him in there, if he happens to die in there, I'm afraid this country will become too hot for anyone.
And speaking during the same event, Lusaka Central Province aspiring candidate Chombana Kazwe described the continued detention of Matomola Likwanya as disheartening. She says the only crime that the UPND Lusaka District IPS did was to stand for the majority citizens that are queuing up to register as voters and are being sent back home because the equipment at some centers is malfunctioning.
It's very disheartening to note that our brother, Comrade Matomola Likwanya, has been unlawfully detained by the police. He's currently being held at Charleston Police and he's been there for 10 days. What wrong did Matomola do? He stood for the majority of citizens that are queuing up in numbers to obtain their voters' cards. And most of them are being turned away because the equipment is not working. Most of them. So he stood for the majority citizens in Zambia. He stood for the number of students at UNZA who haven't been able to sit for their exams because they haven't paid their fees. There's no wrong in standing and being a voice of the people. Was that a crime? We are all potential prisoners at the end of the day. Let's not use our authority to intimidate the youths. And we refuse to be intimidated. You incarcerate one of us, you incarcerate us all. We demand.
Meanwhile, UPND Harry Mwangankumbla aspiring candidate Vene Hajombwa has expressed concern with how the voter registration exercise is being conducted in Kanyama constituency. Mr. Hajombwa has alleged that suspected ruling Patriotic Front cadres have taken over the registration process in Kanyama, Chubolia, Jonleng, and Chinika voter registration centers.
Specifically, I want to speak of where I'm coming from. In Kanyama was 11. I'm talking about Jonleng, I'm talking about Kanyama, Chinika, Chibolia. These places have been surrounded by PF cadres. We don't know if this exercise is a PF event. We don't know. Why should PF take over the voter registration exercise? And Mr. Long is quiet about it. Why should PF take over the voter registration exercise when Shindano is quiet about it? These are the concerns. We in the UPND are one of the main stakeholders. And we are so concerned because if PF are taking over the voter registration polling stations today, what of on the day of voting? Firstly, they went over to take over all NRC mobile centers. Now they are on the voters' cards. These are people who are ferrying people, beating people who are queuing, bringing in their own people from their own buses straight into the polling station. And the police are not saying anything. These are serious concerns. These are serious concerns. Why? Because we are in